You are listening to the Tracy L. Clark Show with me, Tracy L., where I'm going to empower you and teach you how to live your extraordinary life. Tune in every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where I combine ministry, science, and spirituality to reveal the steps you need to let go of your perceived limitations. Have you had the limiting self-talk over and over? Have you noticed you allow your fears to hold you back? If you're truly ready for change, I invite you to join me, Tracy L. Clark, and start your journey of transformation now. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Tracy L. Clark Show. I'm so happy that you guys have joined us, and welcome to our new listeners. I love hearing your response and your feedback. So today is not a call-in show. I know you're used to it, but I love to bring on different guests. As you know, we had Laura Meeks here not too long ago. We have a few up-and-coming new ones as well. But I really love to be able to give you different points of view. One of the things I wanted to do today is introduce you to three amazing women. They are in our community, the Miraculous Academy. Here on Transformation Talk Radio, you hear a lot about the Effortless Academy, how we're here to teach you and learn you, to empower you so you can actually take little tips and energy shifts and understand what you need and what you require in your daily life. The idea is not that we just shift the energy for you, but we teach you, because I really want you to be in a space when you go out and something happens, or you have a friend or a family member, you know what to do. And it's about empowering you to get to where you want to go. And it was really important. These three women are extremely involved in our community. We want to talk about community today because as the world is changing, as we go into 2020, community is going to become a really big part of your world to really get through and understand what are the shifts, what are happening, and how can you really step up more. So it's kind of like we're having a little coffee talk today with the girls. And you know what? Don't worry, men. You're going to get some good tips too here. I know we have some great male listeners. We will bring on some men for you. We've done past shows with Great where we did coffee talk with the guys. So we thought now we would bring in the girls. So I'm so excited to we have Doris with us today. We have Shannon. We have Audrey. They are all incredible business women. They are extremely aware. They are the tops of their fields, and they are so heart-centered. And I couldn't be more, I had chills, but more blessed to be able to have you three with me today, because you are not only leaders in your own space in terms of where you work, but you're also leaders and empowerment angels and people out there in the world. I don't know, you guys, when I see you walk in the world, you embody everything we talk about in the TLC Academy. You are always out there giving to people and teaching people. And what I love is you teach them in a way of non-judgment. So thank you. I am so thrilled to have you guys here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's so fun. I want to talk about our community a little bit and sort of what was your experience? I don't know, just jump in, whoever wants to go first, but your experience or what you feel is important about community, or things that you noticed in your life that started to change when you did come into the TLC community, because it's different. People say, well, why that community, or why would I go, or what makes it different? And I can say that all day long because I love all of you guys, but I really want you guys to really express your honest opinions there always, with that space of, especially for people going, why there? Like, really? You know?
So maybe I'll start. I've been with you probably 6 years now, and I've seen how this sort of journey for you has grown, and it's kind of amazing to see where it's come. So this is so amazing. I'm so blessed to be a part of this community. But so for years, I have to say it's kind of tough because I love helping people, but it's funny, I'm not very good at receiving it. So I'm not very open, and it's hard to trust people with your stuff, but I love to help others, and I know how to help them. I know how to be there, but it's funny that to be that person, you have to be able to feel comfortable to allow people into your world. So this community, honestly, people don't understand how comfortable it is to be able to share how you feel when you have your downs. People have your back, and they will never judge you. I don't know if anyone who's not on this call that has never been part of this community, but I see it every day on Facebook. I hear everyone's testimonies, but people really get so much from everybody. Everybody here has something gift that they can give to somebody that we're not aware of. If they ask for a car repair guy, and somebody has somebody amazing that can help them with. It's like in every area of their life, whether they're having a down day, and about 20 people will come in and say, oh, we've got your back, and I've had this day too, and we'll all come out of it together. It is just such an amazing community. And again, from somebody who struggles sharing their stories, it's amazing to have this community where people honestly just are there for you.
Mm-hmm. Shannon, Audrey?
Yeah, I can definitely add to that. So for me, the community was actually an awesome added bonus. I think I joined, I think I attended my first event, I would say maybe about 4 years ago. And then I slowly started adding on because I found that I joined at a time where I was probably at one of my lowest points. I was doing really, really well in my career, but everything else around me was failing. And so when I joined the community, it was really to help myself first. But then when I got immersed in it and I realized it's actually more about me just helping myself. It's about, I've always given back, but I've never known how to give back or receive back for myself either. I never knew how to say no. I was always a yes person. But the community was able to feed me in ways that I wasn't able to feed myself. And it's just been so rich in that, and meeting people from all walks of life and having this one common goal of just helping each other and being fulfilled for ourselves and living in our true authentic self is really truly what keeps me connected in this community.
I love what you said there is, and I think all of us on the call can agree, is that none of us as empaths are very good receivers. So we had to all learn.
Yeah.
We had to all learn. And I think that's something that people need to understand, is that we do need to learn how to be receivers. And when you have a place where no matter where you are in the world, you can pop on and say, hey, this is what I require. You can receive that energy. You can receive the blessing. You can receive where that space is. I think it's, and Shannon, I'd love your take on this, because for Audrey and Doris, they're where I am in this actual city center I live in. I'll be traveling a lot more, so more people will be able to have that space. And so it's nice they get to come actually into a different live environment. But you're all the way across the other side of the country. So how do you find with the community that you've noticed and your shifts and changes? Because you've grown in so many ways, like so many ways. I don't even know where to start, but what is your thought process on that when you look at that and how it can contribute to somebody that says, oh, well, I can't necessarily go to that live event?
Yeah, exactly. When I think that's the difference for me, is that's what I was going to bring up, is I started with one-on-ones with you because I think all of us in life kind of question, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decision? And am I on the right path? I don't know if this is right. This feels right in the moment, but I don't, we all naturally question things because we don't have all the answers of what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think it was the reassurance of working with you one-on-one that was amazing and brought so many things into my life. And then I actually held off for a really long time joining the Miraculous group. So that's what I wanted to share today, was being on the West Coast. I can't just attend a live event or come to an evening, because you do so much for the community and give back continuously between Soul Sundays, between evening events, between all these other things that you offer to the community, to have access to come check you out, to see what it's like before there's a commitment. And I think that's really unique to this community as well. And to be able to link into that and be on the West Coast 5 days a week, I get videos. I travel a lot for my work. I'm all over Canada, all over North America, and I travel for fun. So I actually had just shared that with you, is that I was in Italy and I was in Russia, and I got to be on a completely different place in the world, and I could still connect into the group, and I still felt supported. And there's still always going to be moments where it's challenging, and it's definitely going to test me, and to be able to link into that is invaluable. And the changes I've seen from joining the group versus just doing the one-on-ones have been huge, in a difference of, I think Doris said 5-6 years. I was the same, working with you around the same amount of time, and switching into working with a group energy and working with the Miraculous, where I'm tied into you so many days a week. Huge leaps and bounds in just 2 months, 3 months.
What did you notice? So really big question. So what was, because I hear this a lot, I love the one-on-ones. I love the one-on-ones. What was the resistance from the one-on-ones? Because we still in our group, they're still there in different ways, right? But what was the resistance between the one-on-one and the group in your perception?
Yeah.
And then how did that change once you actually immerse in that Miraculous Academy?
I think my resistance to it was the same as Doris, in that I'm very good at helping. I'm that person that people open up to. I just always been that person that, you meet a stranger and then they tell you your whole life story. But I'm not necessarily the person that is going to open up entirely about as much as I feel like I'm open, I definitely will listen before I'll talk about myself. And so I think my worry was, and I'm also very kinesthetic, so I feel all the energy. And so I've been to so many group things and so many corporate functions and so many different types of different energy groups where you go and I leave almost feeling worse because I've taken on so much, and I don't feel like there was necessarily the right intention behind it. So the difference of joining your group was letting go of that resistance of, it doesn't need to just be one-on-one. I actually probably can get more healing, even though I want you one-on-one for myself, as I think that's everyone. I just want you 100% to me.
It still happens, different ways.
And I think that's normal when you start to feel what the energy can do and the type of things that it can tap you into. But then realizing, things like, in that few months, some of my testimonials are, crazy flow within my business, financial flow that just has come kind of almost out of nowhere, miraculous healing. So
your eyes,
my eyes naturally healing, and you hear about people prescriptions reversing, but I mean, he actually told me to stop wearing my glasses because it was going to hurt my eyes more if I wore them. And the one that really blew my mind, though, was the teeth. I went in for the dentist because I had a change in work, so I was trying to do all my extended medical stuff. And I went in for a cleaning and had said, I've had one cavity in my life. My teeth are really great, but there was one that they did some work on. And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy because there's nothing there. There's no cavity. There's no filling. She's like, I don't know what you had done, but there definitely wasn't. It's not there anymore. So those are just a few of the things.
I love that. And I love what you said. So, and because with the group, right, if people who are listening, the reason is we're not just touching on, we're just doing health, right? The way we go in and out, like you were saying, some of the videos and clearings are health, some are money, some are, finances and relationships with self and others and love and self-love. And did any of you notice a bigger space of your inner peace and self-esteem and just knowing that you had that? Like if you needed a place to pop on and say, hey, I need some support. Have you noticed it for all of you? Because you've all said this, I don't like to receive. I'm learning to receive. But now you're getting all this new stuff in. Did you notice that shift for you by watching a community, even if you're not always engaged, that you felt more confident to receive, more confident and self-esteem? Did any of you notice that shifted?
Yes, actually, because other people who are very good with sharing, they've inspired me to do the same. And that's the thing that is, when you start seeing people doing it and then they get all that support, you actually start to feel, you know what? This is a great space to do that. And it makes me feel motivated to finally say, you know what? Yeah, this group has me. Like, this is amazing. And the one thing that people don't know is that Tracy has taught many of these people the tools, like body regen classes. They have the ability to shift you as well. Like, I know you haven't seen Tracy in a month or 2 months. She's busy, she's unavailable. You have this group of people who can shift you. Mm-hmm. As well. Like, it's amazing when you have one person you're waiting for and it feels so limiting, and you've had all these amazing people who have the same ability to help you the same faster, and every day you're motivated. It's not like you're waiting for your monthly appointment and then you sort of go into a hole. All these people kind of uplift you, even if it's not just Monday to Friday waiting for her videos. You've got 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. People log in 2:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that.
It doesn't matter when.
2 a.m. Oh, you need this, and I love that. Like, I popped on yesterday and we had one of our members. It snowed here where we are. We got a crazy amount of snow. We're not getting any snow for a month. I'm not a big fan of winter. I'm not.
As I said, we reject that.
I reject all that snow. Make it go away. But right away, she had gotten a car accident. I think we had over 400 car accidents in the whole Toronto area, GTA. And she got in and she popped on, I believe, while she was waiting for the tow truck or whoever said, okay, like, guys, hey, I had a car accident. And there was multiple. And I like to pop on and off. And I noticed it right away. And when I said to her, I'm on it. Like, just, I will get on my break. I'm on it. And I think this is one of the things that exactly what you're saying that I love is I watch all of you guys, because in the videos, we're teaching you body regen, right? Like, we're teaching in the morning videos. And that's what's fun, because if you need that, it's like, there she was. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling better. Like, thank you. I need a boost in this and this. And there was quite a few people that right away came into that space, which I think is absolutely amazing. Audrey, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So I did one-on-ones with you as well. And so when it shifted into the larger community, I think what I thought I was going to miss the most was just the personal time. But then what I found with the videos and with how quickly you respond to your messages and the live events, I was still getting that kind of attention. It was just in a different format. And actually, if anything, I felt like I got more support. Yeah. So, and not only more support from you, but because the group is so well connected, I just felt like it elevated my frequencies tenfold, and I was able to do way more. I feel way more productive at work. I find that just the daily stresses of the day, I use the tools, and it's been able to shift how I respond to certain situations. People have also said there's something different about you, and they can't quite put their finger on it. But that's actually specifically why I joined your community, because I was on a healing journey for quite some time, saw a ton of healers, more so in the metaphysical type of space. And while I connected with it, I almost I couldn't do it every day because it was really, really out there, and it didn't bring me back down to day-to-day physical life. And so what I loved about you was that you had that connection, and it felt higher, but you were also able to help me bring it back down to what it means in the day-to-day.
Actually, I love what you just said there. I got chills. And that's what's so important. And I'm like covered in goosebumps, because then thank you for saying this. It's so important, because I know what you're saying, Audrey, when you're up, and I know Shannon, you've been there too. We're all Doris, we can connect into these other worlds, and people say, oh, that's crazy, what's happening? And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the universe. Absolutely. There's a lot of things we can see, feel, and hear, all of us on this call. But how do you relate that to your daily life, right? It's like someone said to me the other day, oh, I went down this rabbit hole. I'm reading all about these aliens. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? You're really distracted. That's not going to help you on your daily life. And I love what you say, because it is about integrating. So I said to one of my CEOs the other day, he said, what I like about your tools is the fact that, like, he doesn't have time to meditate when he's going to a boardroom, right? He goes, I can't sit. What's he going to do? Sit there and just a minute, everybody. I got to meditate on this because I'm feeling stressed. Like, it just doesn't happen, right? And and I know each and every one of you said that. It's like, what's something I can do right now or say while I'm going into that meeting? Because you're all in business. We're all busy, right? So we're going into the meeting. You're not dealing with, I think in the group, what I like what you're saying, Andre, is it gets you nice and clean, gets you organized for the day, gives you the tools, because when you're going and dealing with bankers and clients and all these people, they're not fully immersed in that world. And so if you're going to meditate to try to get them to see your point of view, when you could actually say a little saying, or see, okay, thank you, God, I'm going to reverse their perception, and you're just saying it in the head, but you can start to see the dynamics move. And I really, really appreciate you saying that, because that's one of my goals has always been to really show people, because I had 20 years in the corporate, how can you take it out into the practical world? Because it isn't practical to meditate for an hour in the middle of your workday, unless you're, I don't know, maybe if you're at home and you have the time. But I don't know, Shannon, you're busy too. Like, can you really find an hour in the middle of your workday to say, when you're dealing with hundreds of people, okay, let me just meditate on this and let's like have a group love fest? It doesn't work.
And I think too, it's being able to pass that on to talk about how we all help each other. And it's how many times I'm sure we've all kind of done all different types of courses and seminars and working with different healers and stuff, and you leave feeling amazing. We talked about this lots too. And then
Yeah.
it, unless you can maintain that or be able to apply that in a practical way in your life, then it doesn't necessarily help you daily. And so I think having the tools that you give us allow us to be able to, okay, wait, hold on, I know how to deal with this. Check in for a second, and it only takes a minute. And then how many times I've been able to pass those tools on to people who don't know how to, oh, I'm feeling this right now. It's like actually making me kind of dizzy. I'm feeling all the energy as I'm talking about this. And where, yeah, you're able to pass that on. And it might be a simple tool like, tapping the heart and saying to let go, or touching the palm of their hands, or something that, like, some of the simple tools that you give us that allow us to be able to help other people in our life as well. That is huge.
And that's what I envision, right? And I always say I want everybody to go out in that world and say, oh, did you know if you press the palm of your hand, you can release some energy, like you were just saying. And what are some of the biggest differences you guys have just noticed with the people around you by you going into the world and using the tools? Like, what are the shifts you've noticed, Shannon?
Well, talking about, so I didn't answer your question earlier about calmness and kind of contentment. That's been a huge thing with me, is that and actually I've kind of almost even struggled with it lately, because I consider myself so strongly opinionated. Was raised by a very opinionated mom who, you're strong women and you have a strong opinion and you stand up for what you believe in. But I think also through age, as obviously calmness has come in, but the calmness and contentment of where I don't trigger now, that's been a huge change. So I notice that how I'm kind of applying that with people is they'll actually see me. And Audrey, you mentioned that people are saying that you've changed. People will comment to me like, wait, hold on, I just saw what you just did. You took a second, processed it, and then your reaction was really calm and really kind of, there was an ease to, you're not going to affect me, and you're not going to trigger me. So that for me has been a more of a newer thing with me, because I always feel like I need to stand up for myself and defend my opinion, but there's a way of doing it in a calmness where they're not triggering my energy.
That's beautiful, actually, because that's that reflection that gets passed on to other people, right? And
Right.
we can process, and that's actually a huge step of where we get to when we're moving up that ladder of life, right? When you notice I'm pace, okay, that's not reacting, and I'm not reacting, but you can have an opinion, they can have an opinion, you can be in that space of kind of agree to disagree. That's a beautiful, beautiful energy to actually be able to push into the world.
I actually, I've shifted, but more so on the opposite spectrum. So my mother was very, very calm, but very much a doormat as well. So I've actually had to build up my personality to learn how to say no, because I would say the first probably 30 years of my life, I said yes to everything and never yes to myself. And so the shift people have noticed in me is that I've actually learned how to say no and set boundaries. And I could see people's hamster wheels going every time Audrey says no, because it's something that they're not used to. So I actually have shifted in the opposite way though. And it's been good. It's been very healthy. I've learned how to maintain that healthy balance of giving, but also giving to myself so that I have that to give, that I have that energy and I'm not depleted at the end of the day.
I love what you said there. And I know we have to go to a quick break here in a minute, but I really want to, especially after the break, talk more from all of you guys around, it's going to make me sneeze. Sometimes when I clear, I sneeze. Okay. I apologize. Is around boundaries and people pleasing, because all four of us were that person. Empaths, we really have crappy boundaries. We do want to people please a lot. So when we feel, hear, see a lot. So when we come back, I want to dive into that a little bit more and the things you notice, because when we start saying no, not only do we get empowered, we also know people leave our life. And I want our listeners to understand from you guys how you handled that using the tools you had when you started to create boundaries, let go of people pleasing, and then realize oh, I have to move these people out of my life. So everybody listening, we're going to take a quick break. Check us out, tracylclark.com, into the Miraculous Academy or the Effortless Academy. That was always a place where we teach you. You can learn. You get to meet great people, just like we have here with Shannon and Doris and Audrey, and even more souls to help lift you into a new way of living. As I say, unleashing the superhuman within, because all of us have those little Luke Skywalker, Yoda abilities. We just have to bring them out. Everybody knows me. I'm the biggest nerd on the planet. Yoda is my hero. So this is a place that's within you, but you all have that superpower within you. So we're going to take a quick break, come right back, and get right into boundaries and people pleasing. See you in a minute.
Inspire, create, empower. Only on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Tracy L. Clark Show. I am here with three of the most amazing souls. They are in our Miraculous Academy, but they are the most incredible women. If you missed our first half, you're going to have to go watch the replay or listen to the replay, depending on which outlet you're on, because we're talking really about not only the Miraculous Academy, because it's a really good place for learning, teaching, so you can be empowered, but their journeys and where they came from. And I've watched them grow throughout the years. They are so heart-centered, and I'm just so thrilled to have you guys. You know, before we left, we were talking about people pleasing, boundaries, and when that happens and you got to have people leave your life. Who wants to jump in on that? Because we're all people pleasers as empaths. We all need to learn this lesson. And there's probably people listening going, oh yeah, I still have to do that. Yes, yes. What was the biggest one hurdle that you found when you realized, oh my gosh, I have to stop people pleasing? And the biggest changes you noticed when you started moving people out that were not supporting you anymore? Who wants to jump in?
Go ahead, Doris.
I was going to say, I think the biggest hurdle for me was definitely with my family, of course, because they see you grow, but you're always there for them. So you have to set those healthy boundaries. I found that's the biggest struggle, because being a person that's always there, I'm a very nurturing person. I'm very motherly, and my children mean everything to me. To see me grow and move on and doing what I love that. But it was a bit of a struggle, I have to admit, because they're like, what about me, mommy? Like, what about me? And it's a tough road. And that also started to get into my workforce, where you start talking about being a part of this community and doing other things and venturing off and traveling more. And people kind of look at you as like, are you leaving me? I'm like, okay, well, no, this is not it. It's just that people want so much from you, and setting those healthy boundaries and saying, hey, you know what? Life changes. I come first now, and it's hard to say when you are a person that gives so much, that it's like, no, it's my turn now. I have my convictions. It's my turn to do what I love. And then that is it. And people see it and they're happy for you. We just hope that, they understand the boundaries that you set for that.
Yeah, and to change them. Audrey, how did you find that shift?
So when I started saying no, I actually lost a few friendships. Yeah. And it was, I don't have any children, but out of my friends, I was the motherly one. So I would be the planner. I would take care of people. I would pick people up in my car, drive them here and there, pick things up for their children. I was that person, and I still had my life to manage. So when I actually started saying no, there was a lot of resistance, and they didn't know who this Audrey was. But I was depleted every time I was doing stuff for them, and then it started to build resentment. So that was the thing, was I was giving at a point where I actually enjoyed it. And then it crossed a boundary where I actually started resenting it.
Because did it become an expectation over time?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Audrey's the one that says, yes, Audrey's down for anything. Audrey doesn't care what we do. Audrey will do everything that we say. And I was fine with it to a point, because I am actually really easygoing for the most part, until I wasn't.
I like what you said there. Can you explain to the people listening? So when you were going in those situations, you just said you were really depleted. When was it that you started to notice? Was it after you were doing more of the work on yourself, so the listeners can get that you started to notice, oh my God, I'm going into this area, and when I leave, I feel drained, exhausted. All my energy's been sucked out.
That's really what it was. I just, I was tired. I was very angry. I was holding on to things and looking at them in certain lights that I knew they weren't those people, but because I had built up so much resentment that I turned them into monsters in my head when they weren't. It was just really me giving way too much that I didn't have. So it took time. So it took a lot of time for me to fill my cup up first before I had overflow so that I could actually give without feeling depleted, where I had actually something to give because I had it.
Yeah, I actually really like what you say there. So for people listening and new listeners, it's really important. Quite often when you go into those environments, watch exactly what you were saying there, Audrey, with are you feeling supported, alive, more energized, or are you feeling more depleted? And I like how you said I was creating them as monsters in my head because you were angry that, they were just being them, doing the same
Yeah,
thing that they would always do.
exactly.
But you had changed, you had shifted and realized I have nothing to give now because I need to take care of myself. Kind of like what Doris was saying, we got to come first. It's that super old, I don't know what 100-year-old person said it, but right, putting the mask on first before you put it on your kid in the airplane. I don't know that. I know it's been around for at least 100 years. Maybe it was
Mhm.
Bob Proctor. I don't know, but if anybody else says, you can jump in there. But it's true, right? It's a good saying. And the more you wake up, didn't you find the more you started to get connected to the God consciousness and to yourself, that's where your boundaries got stronger?
Absolutely. And until I knew how to connect to spirit and connect to God and just listen to him, was when I was okay with saying no, because it was a safe space to say no. Because if my friends were going to get upset with me, or if my family was going to get upset with me, or if work was probably one of the biggest things I kept saying yes to. I would work till sometimes 4 or 5 in the morning for years, wake up for 8 a.m., go back to work. Um, and I was able to say no confidently without worrying about work getting angry with me, because this was the message from God, was that this was my learning, as that everyone was going to use me and deplete me until I learned the lesson. This was his lesson coming at me in every area of my life, and I wasn't listening.
Oh, thank you, God. Okay, this is awesome. God, we're gonna have to bring you all back on. Okay, so Shannon, I want to know about your people pleasing and your boundaries, and then I want to actually go to this whole. And I talk about this a lot in our group, the connection to God, faith, what it means to you guys, and how it changed coming into the group. So first, I want to go, Shannon, and just explain for you, what did you notice when you stopped people pleasing and having to put in boundaries and losing friends, and how did that change your life by actually doing that?
Yeah, I think I was the same, and it was in every aspect of my life. It was everything from friends to family to relationships, where I was always the person giving and always the person who gave more. And I really started finding that I was leaving, either friend get-togethers or something, going, I just don't feel like that didn't do anything. Like I didn't feel like when I leave people now and I feel my heart's more full and I leave feeling like I've taken something away from it, that is who I know I need to be around. That is who I'm connecting with for the right reason. And you're giving something back to me, so you're helping fill me up. And I think just like what Doris and Audrey were saying, is taking the time to then pay attention to that. And then I think too, universe and God work in very interesting ways, where we've all know that they then teach you a lesson when you don't listen,
Yes.
and when you should know better and you know what to look for. I've had, and it's been kind of in the last 6 months even, of some really big slaps in the face of betrayal and of really deep hurt, with people who were really close in my life, who I had to let go of. And the power of standing in that, of being, you know what, you just don't, unfortunately you don't serve me, I love you, to get to the place of I love you unconditionally and I've
Oh,
learned something
chills. I
from
love
you.
it.
And to forgive, and to forgive because it's for me and for my heart and for me to move forward, has been huge. And because
Mhm.
of that, then brings all this other space for all these amazing people who give me something, who lift me up and who fill my heart. So I think and some of those people are people who've been in my life for a really long time. That
Those are the
just,
hardest, aren't they? When they've
yeah,
been there for a long time and you realize, God, you've been here for 10, 15 years, but you're not serving anymore.
yeah. And
Yeah.
we come up with these, like we was talking about, these verbal contracts of we're friends, but we're family, and you're like family to me. So then you also then put up with a lot more stuff that is, oh well, you're family, so I'm supposed to unconditionally forgive you because you're family. And then there's the actual family that we do that with as well.
You know what?
That
That's a
we
great point because it's true. People do that. It's the verbal contract. It's like they say it over and over, and then that's whole blood is thicker than water. Well, just because they're family, and I love what you said there, doesn't mean you need to put up with the garbage that doesn't serve you. And the only way you grow is by moving that. And that unconditional love, that unconditional forgiveness is so important. And for the listeners, what Shannon's saying, if you haven't, I did a lot of this in the last week, actually, which was great. You brought it up and clearings around it. It doesn't mean you're forgiving their action or you're forgiving the incident. You're forgiving yourself and them for whatever that karmic agreement was, so you can have peace inside. And this is what I love with what you're saying, Shannon, is you've had such that awareness that it's like, I'm going to forgive myself. I'll forgive you, but it doesn't mean you have to be in my life.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Huge, huge, huge. Yes. Awesome. Okay. I would love to also, I love that. I love the unconditional love, the unconditional forgiveness. And what I can also say to people, it doesn't happen just one time. Sometimes you have to go in and you learn some tools and do it again. But that is so freeing when you can really come to a place and say, you know what, I do love myself. I am going to forgive. And again, this is what I love about the community is we teach about that. And even we did Soul Sundays on forgiveness. We did Friday about forgiving. We did yesterday about forgiving, which gives you even more space to go in and hopefully empower, because it is those contracts and those words, and they're so strong. It's interesting when you said, oh, we've known each other for so long, but we're like family. It was like looking at a knot, like just a gross knot of energy that says, I'm never letting you go. You better give me everything I require. And that's not loving or kind at all.
And I find sometimes it's the opposite side of it as well. It's like, because you're family, but people look at you, they don't want to see you grow out of their family because you've changed so much as well. That's with friendships. I mean, you build a bond together and you do things together that you like. And then as you grow, you outgrow these things. And do they really accept you for who you are as you are now? Or do they want to keep you down the way you were? So that's the hard part too, disconnecting from friends like that who can accept your change, and family as well.
It is. And then also making sure that you can have that strength to keep moving forward. And that is one of the reasons too, with creating the community the way I did, is because I know what that's like. You guys have all been there. You feel pretty alone. You're like, oh my God, is there anyone that understands me? I want to ask you guys, because I know our hour goes fast, and I'm definitely having you three back because I could probably talk to you guys all day long. So plan it. We're going to come back again before Christmas, because I know people are going to be saying, I want to know more. But I want to quickly touch on, so in a community and in our space, I always say faith. Faith is exactly what you can see. My little saying, for the people that can't see, I have a little cup. It says trust, no believe. I think Doris has one too. Trust, no believe. There's something bigger out there. Yeah. Greater than all of us. Whether you call it God or universe or divine, it's this beautiful energy of love. And all of you have sort of touched on this. And I know I went through my journey, but I'd love to really hear from the three of you. A lot of times when we're in the world of energy or spirituality, people, they tend to discount the faith area. They tend to discount the God because they have religious hangups, or maybe they have to call it universe or divine. It's the same energy of love. I found in my journey that without that connection, that strong belief of things we can't always see or feel, I had to incorporate that to actually move my life forward, right? That we have, because we're all connected, we're all one. And to me, it's like leaning into a bath of warm love when you realize, wait a minute. So it's not rules, it's not regulations. I don't view it that way. But I would like, because I believe everybody's view is very, very important. Can you three share what that looked like for you, maybe how it changed as you woke up, your definition of faith or God? And because I think it's a very universal space. It has many different thought processes. Doris, did you want?
So definitely. Actually, one of your workshops was my big turnaround. I think it was last year. And I wrote a testimony on that one because I'm a very controlled person. or I should say. I wanted to know the end of everything. I wanted to plan everything. And it's funny, after doing the first evolutionary, and it was in and around all that time last year, this was a big turnaround. A lot of my life changed. The Evolutionary Academy.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's not on the site right now. Don't
Yes.
go look for it. Maybe after I do the soul getaway and we're done with the retreat. Okay.
So that was at that point, my life actually changed, turned upside down, sold my house, had nowhere to know where I was going to move or live or work at that, because I was working from home. And it was funny. I'm just like, you know what? I know this is going to work out. And within probably days, I found a home, I found a place to work, my life turned around. And then even though in that time, I ended up finding the perfect home for a short period of time to end up with this beautiful home that I ended up in now, that was also a miracle, because even finding it, I still don't even understand how it happened, because I'd asked to rent it from somebody who was selling it, and then he changed his mind. He said, I'll let you have it. It was just a miracle. And honestly, just to have this happen, I had to let it go. And I said this to my daughter, I know this is going to work out. There's a point that I have to let it go. And people around me are like, how are you not stressed out? I said, because I have the faith that I know it will come together. If it was a year ago, I would probably be crying. I would probably be in my room sulking. Why is this happening to me? I can't believe my life is horrible. And I'm telling you, you hear that little voice in your head, is like the whiny, whiny, whiny voice of, oh, woe is me and all this. I'm like, you know what? I don't like that. I feel so much happier, and everything came together. I don't know where tomorrow will be. At this point, I just know that I'm on track, and I'm happy because I just allow the faith just to take me where I need to go. And I actually open my ears and eyes to listen to all that, the signs that come in as well. People don't really notice that as well. The little cues, the voices in the head, the people that are introduced in your life, these people are sent. So instead of looking for it, they came to me. And that's how it all happened.
That's the faith, the trust and belief.
Right.
Shannon, what's your thought process on that?
Well, as you know, it's been a bit of a journey for me, because I grew up actually without religion, without being able to refer to God. And even earlier, you heard me say universe God.
Yeah.
But
Or divine or spirit, whatever anybody wants to call it.
Yeah, and everyone has their own. And I've always viewed
Yep.
everyone as, you know, I talk about this a lot, as just people. I've seen people as
Yeah.
people. I don't see color. I don't see religion. I don't see background.
Just love.
I never have. And exactly, just a soul. And the base, I think, growing up without religion and out referring necessarily to God, and it actually was a negative connotation towards it, because of all the past history of family dynamics of where religion kind of got in the way of. And I know religion and God and spirit are so different, but me being able to say God and to connect into that, I've always known there was a bigger force, a universe, divine spirit. But in this last part of my transformations, to be able to directly refer to God has been a huge transformation for me. And just noticing, being able to actually use the words and use, there's a different connection, and it actually makes me emotional, because I can feel that is more true and more pure. And I feel like I'm kind of all over the place trying to describe this, but it's partially knowing that the base of really all religions and of that force of God is all just in love. And so by referring to God doesn't necessarily mean I'm referring to a specific religion. It means just that energy of love, and that there is this faith of, when you feel connected and you're connected into a community like this, that there is just this flow and things just kind of happen for you. And like Doris was saying, it's just believing that I am a little bit of a control freak, and I like to know what is going to happen the next day too, and why is this, and it stopped me from questioning and just believing and knowing, like the trust, no believe, of that things are happening for a reason, and there's this path, and I can feel it. And when I take time to be quiet enough and to pay attention, I know that there is already a plan in place, and there is a flow when you're connected.
And it reminds you that there is spirit working with you, whether it is your guides or angels. And that's what I love, is what you said there, is because there's no judgment. And unfortunately, I think there's been a big big misinformation through the religious line that when people hear that word God, they right away, I used to get triggered. I was almost an atheist, like I pretty much was when I started. But if you want to deem me something, I don't know. But I had so much negativity. I didn't see any. So the word to me would trigger me. The word was like, well, I don't even think I fully stepped into being able to say it the way I see it and feel it now, with that just beautiful divine love that comes from all of us being connected, love God inside of us and outside, right, of this love of all the people. And like you said, it's beautiful because we're souls, we're here, we're learning, we're moving, we're shifting. And when people start to understand that shift, they understand it's not this, I don't know, who man in the sky that's blah, 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 blah. It's universal love. So it doesn't matter what you call it, but it really changes. Audrey, what did you notice was a bigger shift when you started to connect in more? So faith, just no belief. Let's not figure out there. It's not linked to anything. What did you notice a difference of your life shifted when you were able to anchor that part in more?
So I was born into a Catholic family. So I went through the entire process of, the baptism and all that kind of stuff, but I never connected with it. And even as a kid, I always thought, I don't understand why, if this is supposed to be in my life, why it's so strict, why it's so boring. I would fall asleep. And so many rules. Everything I did was apparently bad. So
breathing was not, you didn't breathe the right way today. Go confess.
The 10 commandments, which I think, and I think I understood that fundamentally the message they were sending, but I didn't connect with it being institutionalized like that. And so as I got older and started to travel more, I think traveling was a big thing for me, because then you get to see how other people live, what other people believe in. I went to Jerusalem, and then I saw the walls, and I saw the quarters of the Armenians and the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews. And it was literally a wall dividing people. And I just was walking through, and they wouldn't look you in the eye if you weren't of the religion. And I just thought that was really sad. And I was there because my sister's married to a Muslim, an Israeli Muslim, but he's Palestinian Muslim or Palestinian Israeli. So he's not even considered a human being, and he's Israeli. So all of that just to me was every reason why religion was wrong.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, what I noticed was the messaging was fundamentally similar, but people have taken it and defined it in their own way to create division. And it was sad. But when I started going through my own healing journey, I was like riddled with anxiety, riddled with depression. I met this one woman who connected me to what she called the universe, and that's what started me on my spiritual journey. But it went through a whole ton of avenues. You see the yoga people, you see the shamans, you see the Reiki masters. So then you go through that whole thing, only to realize even all of these are still quite divided.
Separation.
And so really what
and limiting.
Yeah, very limiting. And so when I found you, I was like, this is just a straight up connection. There's no divide. You don't need to be a yogi. You don't need to be a shaman in the forest. You don't need you
don't need to not bathe for a month.
yeah. And it was whatever skin you were in, I found a connection. And that's how my journey of faith started. It was institutionalized at first, then I started to find my own way, only to realize really it's just straight up to the God consciousness and whatever skin you're in.
You know what? And I love what you say there, because that's so true. And this is what it's time, guys, in 2020 for people listening. All of these areas is I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm right. Like you were saying at the wall, I'm this, so I'm over here. I can't look at you. And this is what's crumbling. Like this is all division. And what we've created in the Miraculous Academy is there is no division, and that your spirits, your thought are valid. They're there, and we grow together, and we're going to change our truths and change our opinions and change our point of views. But exactly like what Audrey just said, your connection is you direct to God, your relationship, how it looks for you, not defined by a rule or a regulation. And that's where true miracles and transformation happen. And that's why all of us are so grateful to have you all on today, because that's where transformation comes from, is when you're directly connected, running by what feels right for you, not no rules and regulations. I cannot believe, so we are going to have you guys back. We're already at the top of the hour. I know, thank all of you for coming today and sharing. And I hopefully you will all come back and join us again. Any quick last words before we have to sign off? Any quick little tidbits for the listeners?
I guess just that I'd love to come back, and thank you so much for the opportunity, and anything that, you know, allows us to get our message out or to speak about these things that keep us true to who we are is really what this is about.
Yeah, and encourage everybody, if you are very hesitant about reaching out to this community, please do, because it's growing and it is so beautiful and supportive.
Great. Thank you so much. Would love to come back on. And I think it's the same of just knowing that there's so many different ways to connect into the community, to even ease into what it is all about. And this is just even like a snippet of how amazing the community is.
Well, we're going to have all of you. I so love you all, and I'm so grateful. And you will be back before Christmas. So guys, you got to tune in, watch for these three amazing ladies to come back, and we'll have another chat. Check us out at tracylclark.com. And really, if you have questions, always reach out, because we're here for you to really make sure that you get to be empowered to where you want to go. So thank you again, everyone. Love you all. And all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And we're going to see you next week, right back here, same time, same place, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where it will be a call-in show. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everyone. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.